Don't worry about it. I got you. So I created this comic book called Kingsville, and it's about an island nation north of a large continent. And this island nation is a mining nation. It's a fishing nation. It's cold most of the time, and they're kind of secluded. But while they're mining, they're finding all these minerals, and they find a mineral, and they're calling it psychodone. They don't know what the benefits of it is. They don't know anything about it. Well, within the continent, there's this nonprofit organization called the Alliance for Global Safety, and they're trying to bring nations together to help with trade, safety, all that good stuff. And they get their hands on this psychodone, and internally, they got a huge team of scientists that can handle understanding this type of stuff. So once they get their hands on it, they find out it has some special properties. In fact, it could give humans superpowers, and they start to test it on people, and eventually they start to build out a team of superhumans. Now that they have these superhumans, they're growing by promising nations that we will put a superhuman in your nation if you become part of the Alliance for Global Safety, or AGS. Well, that starts to worry Kingsville because they're supplying this mineral, and they start to cut it off because AGS, or the Alliance for Global Safety, is getting way too much power, and they're worried what they're going to do with all this power that they keep gaining. Well, that begins to start a war, and that's where the name World at War comes, because there's about to be a major war between people that have no superhumans and this group that has a whole bunch of superhumans that are placed in all these, different nations, supposedly doing the right thing. But we know behind the scenes, they're pretty shady. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the story. That's where World at War comics came. I just kept it because, one, I like it. And two, it just seemed to work out. So I created a podcast about 1.5 years ago. And the podcast actually has become more popular than anything else I do, to be quite honest, which is fun. I love it, man. I get to meet a lot of my favorite comic book writers and creators and all that good stuff. So it's been fun. So now it's more universal. World at War really represents my collecting, my podcast, and my comic brand.
Okay, now we was gonna get into this later, but since we're right there, let's go ahead and jump into it. What made you come up with the idea of wanting to do a comic book, or what gave you the idea, and what all did you have to go through to get it done? Can you give us the little ins and outs and what all you had to go through?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, comic books is my number one passion outside of everything that happens in my personal life with my family. I love comic books. I got thousands in the closet over here. I got books everywhere. I've always loved comic books, always had a dream of doing my own comic book. I think anybody that grew up with comic books or watched Saturday morning cartoons with like Justice League or X-Men, you probably laid on your stomach with a piece of paper and tried to draw those characters. And then you say, I'm going to create my own characters. And they just became cheap knockoffs of whatever you were enjoying at that time. And so you get that little bug, right? And you sit on that for many years. I'm almost 50 now. My kids are all 18 and above. And so like you, I assume, right, we have a little bit of extra money now that the kids aren't so needy, right? And so
money.
You can see on my chair over there, I got toys I still haven't opened. I know you got a closet full. It's a fun time to be alive, man. I got a lot more freedom to do some of these things, even though my wife thinks I'm nuts. But yeah, I mean, that's where the bug came. And then I came up with this idea during the pandemic for a comic book. I was not doing a whole lot. Then I got really ill. I was actually on dialysis during that time because I had kidney issues, and I had a kidney transplant. And when I had my kidney transplant, I was out of work for 6 months. And I just drive my wife nuts, man. I got to be busy and I got to be active. She's all, man, you've been wanting to write this comic book. Why don't you just start it, man? Because you're driving me nuts, and I don't want to talk to you all day. So I started drawing it out, trying to figure out the storyline and all that. Started searching for an artist. That's probably the hardest part because there's a lot of scams out there. Found a really great artist named Dan Zay. Shared with him my vision, and he was all in. And we jumped right in, man. I wrote out everything. So it's going to be a 4-issue for the first arc. We're halfway done with issue 3. We got 10 pages done. I'm actually starting my crowdfunding September 1st on Zoop, ZOOP. So people could go to zoop.gg and check it out right now. They can put in their email and they'll get an email when it's ready. But
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it all started. And I'll be honest, today it's easier to create your own comic than it ever has been before. 25 years ago, to find a printer that is willing to do small runs for an independent was very difficult. Now you got Kablam, you got Comics Wellspring, you got a whole bunch that will do runs of 25 issues if you want. You pay about $5 an issue, but you could do it. And so it's opened it up for a lot of people that have had that passion. And I jumped in head first, man. A lot of Googling, a lot of YouTube videos on what to do. Obviously reaching out to people who have done it. My comic book store owner, his name's Ambrose. He's a cartoonist, and he's helped me out a lot. So, yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Well, good deal, man. I really like the story of how you did this. I hate how you got there with having the whole kidney thing. But, hey, sometimes that's what it takes to get us there. Real quick before I get into something, Kenny's Collection wanted to know where they could buy them.
Yeah, so actually right here on TikTok, in the TikTok shop, I have issue 1 and 2. The 2 that you got, Beef, I'm out of. So I went into a second print. This is issue 1 now. And if you read the comic, this is Dr. Derrickson. He's the head of the Alliance for Global Safety. You can see he's smoking a cigar, really enjoying everything that he's accomplishing. And in his mind, no one knows all the nefarious stuff that he's doing. But so that's issue 1 and then issue 2. And right now on the TikTok shop, you could get both for $10. The last time I checked yesterday, it was free shipping because, TikTok will hook us up sometimes with free shipping. So, yeah, you could pick them up there. And then, like I said, issue 3 goes in the crowdfunding September 1st, and it'll be on zoop.gg. And you could go there and check it out now.
Yeah, when I got mine, I got all these cool little cards with it. And little, like, postcards, the little stickers and everything. And, tell the truth, I have read the book, but I did not read it till yesterday.
Not a problem, man. Yeah.
I have not had time. And I told my wife, I've got to read that book before he comes on the show. I have to. And I thought I had 1 and 2, but I didn't realize I had just issue 1 with the variant cover.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good for me because I don't have 2 to really read real fast.
All good.
I do want to check out the rest. I did enjoy it. I like the artwork and everything. I think the characters seem pretty cool so far. So, hey, great job, man.
I appreciate it, Beef. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. It's a passion for sure.
Now, what I want to do, this is why I usually start, let's try to take you back. I know you're probably not quite as old as me, but let's try to rack that little hamster wheel and take it back to when you was a kid. And if you can tell me the first action figure that you really remember as a kid.
Yeah, so the first action figures actually were given to me by a neighbor that lived across the street. It was a couple that had younger kids, and I was probably about 8 years old, and their kids were around 4 and 5 years old. And I had to have a hip surgery when I was little. And so they gave me Star Wars figures to play with while I was in the hospital. And those were the first figures I ever got. But the first figures that I actually fell in love with was G.I. Joe. I had as many G.I. Joes as I could get my hands on, man. That and then WWF was huge in my early life. WrestleMania 1, 2, 3. We had a National Orange Show, it was called, in San Bernardino, where I was born and raised. I saw WrestleMania 2 at the Orange Show. They simulcasted it on the giant screen, so there was a bunch of us there. But it was definitely Star Wars. But my first love was G.I. Joe. I had all kinds, man.
Right quick. It's working, Mama. They got it on. They finally got us going. I think they missed all the good stuff. But we're in there now, god dang. So we just do really have to watch our, not that you cuss. No. I'm the one that usually cusses, but we are on the Roku TV.
No problem. I can feel that. Yeah.
But yeah, I was really big into Joe's myself. That and the LJNs is what I had. I don't know if you had anything else, but in that time frame, that's all we had. Yeah. Unless you had the AWA Remco figures. No. I don't know if you remember those.
No.
But they did have those. But those LJNs were big rubber dog chew toys, man.
They were heavy.
You started wrestling with them things, the paint started peeling off, their noses started coming off. I mean, but hey, that's all we had, man. We thought they were great back then.
Yeah, I had the ring too. Remember the ring?
Yes, the big blue ring.
Big blue ring I had, and I remember I had Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Junkyard Dog, but I had Rowdy Piper. And to your point, by the end of whatever that lifespan was, all I remember is his red shorts were gone. Man, it was just
His old butt showing now. There's no trunks on it no more. Now I'm gonna take you back. Now there's been plenty of people that tried to redo the LJNs, but if you have not seen these, the major Pod brothers, which is Matt Cardona and Brian Myers,
I'm gonna
created these, and these things are fabulous.
That's awesome, man. Now,
some of them still don't stand. And you remember that old Andre the Giant where the knees are bent pose with the arms out like this?
Yeah, wow. You could almost put him in a restroom and he would fit perfectly. Right? Because he was so top heavy, right? That they had to put those bends and he still didn't stand for me.
No, couldn't get him to stand.
Nah.
Well, I'll get to this in a little bit, but just so you can be thinking, since you said you're a wrestling fan, right?
I will be honest, man. Like the last 20 years, I haven't followed as much, and I just started following this last WrestleMania again. So I got to catch up on a lot of things, to be quite honest.
That's fine. There ain't really that much work to catch up on.
WWF is my wrestling, right? That's what I grew up with, WWF.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do toward the end of the show, don't let me forget, I'm going to come back to you. I want you to give me your Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Okay, so we already got the first toy. So that was pretty much your first toy line, the G.I. Joes you had. Did you have a lot of the vehicles, or was it just the figures?
Mainly just figures. The vehicles were a little too expensive, and our family couldn't afford it. But I had friends around the corner, and they were a little bit wealthier than us, so I lived vicariously through their vehicles. But I probably had 50 or so, 40 figures. We used to have a chain called Gemco. I don't know if those were where you were at, but
I've never heard of that.
It was kind of like an early version of a super Walmart. So it had a grocery store in the back, and then it had clothes and tires and everything. And so we would hang out in the toy section while my parents did the grocery shopping. And if we were good, I would get a G.I. Joe for being good. So, and we were there like once a week. So over time, I had quite a bit of G.I. Joe.
Nice. Yeah, we had a store called Gibson's. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
No,
And then once Gibson's was pretty much gone, then we had Kmart.
Kmart for sure, yeah.
Now Kmart's not around anymore. Well, it's still in a few places, I think, but not very many. I know there was one left in Houston a few years ago. I don't know if it still is. But what was as a kid, was G.I. Joe your favorite cartoon then, or was it something else?
G.I. Joe, Transformers. I mean, the first time I ever cried at anything was a Transformer movie with Optimus Prime. But yeah, I mean, those two were big. Obviously, WWF, the cartoon.
Rockin' Wrestling?
Yeah, it was the Junkyard.
Rockin' Wrestling was the name of it.
Wrestling, yeah. But it was always that Junkyard, his like little junkyard, right? With the dog.
Junkyard dog. Yeah. Big John Stud.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, of course, we had Toys R Us, too, but we had a KB Toys also.
Yep. In the malls. Yeah, in the malls.
In the malls, yeah, man. Good times back then, man.
Well, you saw that they're opening 22 Toys R Us's over the next year and a half. So supposedly they're coming back. I'm sure they're going to pick like really large cities to begin with and see where it goes. But it'd be kind of cool to have them come back. I'm sure they're going to be super expensive, but a lot of times they had stuff that was hard to find. So I was willing to pay the extra $3 or $4 so I had to travel to 10 Walmarts to find it.
I understand that. So we got your favorite cartoon. What was your favorite comic as a kid?
So my first comic I ever bought is by Marvel, and it was called Nam, N-A-M.
Okay, I do remember that.
Yeah, and it was a comic book that followed a group of guys that were in Vietnam, and my dad was in the Marines during Vietnam. So we come from a long family of military service, and so I wanted to get that comic book just because I knew my dad was a Marine, and I wanted to have that. And then G.I. Joe. So those two comics were my first. And then obviously Spider-Man. I was opened up to this whole superhero world that just blew me away, man. And I started collecting mainly Spider-Man after that.
Nice. So you had the NAM. What about Sergeant Rock? Did you have any of that?
A little bit. Where I lived, like I said, I lived in San Bernardino. We had a comic book store. I was very fortunate, about maybe a half a mile away. So I was able to ride my bike. And so I would mow lawns on the weekend, and my dad would let me spend like half of it on comic books, and the other half he'd make me save. So I would go up there every, I don't remember what day, but I would go up there once a week at least, if not more, and just hang out in there. But Sergeant Rock wasn't as popular. It was harder to find. Marvel was more prevalent when I was growing up. But I became more of a DC fan later in life. And then certainly Sergeant Rock later in life became more important to me.
Okay, so I know you collect DC. Do you have the Sergeant Rock figure?
Why, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I had to get my McFarlane gun pack because, DC won't allow weapons.
Yeah.
So
I need to go get that pack.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. So no hate, but you can't have Sergeant Rock without a gun, man.
I know. He had a knife and a shovel. What was he supposed to do with that?
I guess just hit people before they shoot them.
Did you get the platinum?
No, I'll be honest with you. I tried chasing platinums, and they just got expensive. And just if I find them, great. If I don't, like I collect almost every McFarlane that comes out, but I don't have to have everything. And sometimes if it's like the fifth Batman and it looks the same, I'll skip it just to save a little money. So I'm not a completeness like my boy House of Geekery, LT.
Yeah.
Sheesh, that guy has to have everything.
Did you catch the show when he was on here?
I did, yeah, for sure.
Good.
He's amazing, man. LT is such a good
I love that
guy.
dude. He's such a good guy, man.
And he has the most beautiful beard I've ever seen.
Yeah, I wish I could grow something, but
yeah, mine comes out. It's a little patchy, so I just keep it short so it's not as embarrassing.
see, once mine gets to about yours, then it starts itching, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. Just get rid of it. Just go all no hair, no flare.
I can't imagine you with any hair on you, man. You wouldn't be deep without that, man.
Yes, sir. All right. So, as a kid, did you have a favorite movie growing up?
Star Wars for sure. Empire Strikes Back was the first movie I saw because I think Star Wars came out in '79. I was born in '75, so it wasn't until Empire Strikes Back that I saw that movie. And then the first movie I saw in a theater was Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So we had an old Beta machine. Remember Beta?
Yes.
You
are older than me.
Oh, I am.
I was born in '76. You're 1 year older, man.
There you go, man. Yep. I'm 49, my friend. I'll be 50 next year.
Gotcha. I'll be 49 in January.
Nice, man. It's all good, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm having more fun now, hell.
Me too.
Maybe not always moving around.
Yeah, exactly.
You get the Rice Krispies in the morning, snap, crackle, and popping everywhere, but hey, it's all good.
That is for sure.
We got through as a kid. Now let's take it back. Did you keep any of the stuff from when you was a kid, or did that all kind of go away, get lost, get sold?
Yeah, it kind of went away, got sold. I got in a lot of trouble in high school, man. So, I was in and out of the house. My dad sent me to Alaska to get out of trouble, and I got in trouble up there with my uncle, and he sent me back. It was a tough time, man. And I don't know, like, the area you grew up, but where I grew up, it was like very gang ridden. So I got in a lot of trouble hanging out with the wrong people. The only good thing that came out of my upbringing and where I grew up was my wife. I met my wife, and she was more straight laced, and, I fell head over heels for her. And like overnight, she said, stop smoking and stop hanging out with those guys. And it was done, man. That was over.
Hey, it's always a woman that turns us around.
100%, man. Well, I don't think, I don't want to speak for every guy, but I can tell you in my situation, I'm not mature enough to make those kind of decisions without my wife. She's got to come in with the maturity and say, what are you doing, man? And like, yeah, you're probably right.
I'm right there with you, man. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say like the maturity part, but just she can calm me down when I'm about to go left when I need to go right. You know what I'm saying? So
that's a good point.
She soothes the savage beast. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, 100%.
So I was the same way when we were a kid. We had a little money, but not much. So when the next figure line came out, we had to sell what we already had to get the next one. I mean, you might get one every week or a couple weeks or something, you know, at the grocery store or something. But so, like, I would sell GI Joes to get my He-Man, or sell my He-Man to get a turtle, or all that. So never really kept anything, you know. So what figure or what line was it that got you back into collecting, and can you remember when?
Yeah, definitely 2019 when McFarlane got the rights to DC. I Again, this is personal, so I know a lot of people out there will be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I personally believe, for the value, McFarlane is one of the best toys that you could buy. I could still find them for $19.99. Sometimes they're $22.99. 22 points of articulation. And later in life, I became more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan. So for me, McFarlane has been perfect. So in 2019, I really started to get back into it. And then, as you can see, I almost have everything he's come out with for DC. Also, when Image Comics was started in '92, that changed comic books. It also hurt comic books because, like, 5 years later, everything fell apart. But 92, 93, Cyberforce, Witchblade, all these, I just went bananas in comic books. And that's when I got back into it for a while. And that was in right out of high school. So I was supposed to graduate in '92. I dropped out. I graduated in '93. But that's when the Image boom took off. I came back to comics. And then I got married, and I had to sell everything, my baseball cards, my comics, because we just had to pay rent. And my wife got pregnant at 20 years old. So you do what you got to do, right? So I had 2 jobs, and you know how you have to do it, man. So I got rid of everything. So I had to come back later on in life. And that's why I said, with all the kids being older, and obviously me being a little bit more mature and having a steady job, now I pretty much could collect what I want to collect, right? Without, the only one that gets on me is my wife going, "Man, you're spending a lot on this stuff, man. What are you doing?" Because she's not a collector. And so
I was going to ask you that if she collects. See, it kind of helps me because my wife collects too.
Yep.
So, it's like, how you going to tell me no when you just had 8 Legos come through the door? You know what I'm saying?
I've seen you shop for Legos for her, and it seems like you are about to do something, and then you go right to the section, man.
Yeah, I had to go check out the wrestling. You know what I mean?
I love it.
But so it's kind of funny though. You said she told you quit drinking, quit smoking, but she didn't tell you quit collecting.
No.
You stopped collecting then.
No, I was collecting a little bit. I was collecting baseball cards. I mean, baseball is my favorite sport, so I've always loved baseball. So I was collecting baseball and collecting comics. Really, I had to get rid of them just because we had to pay rent. There was like a month where we were just falling behind and we couldn't afford it. And so I went down to my local comic, or it was actually a baseball card shop, sold all my baseball cards, and they took my comics too. And it was enough to pay rent for a month. So I was in between jobs, still figuring out how to let my friends go and really be a man and take care of my family. And so unfortunately, actually, I don't regret it, man. I mean, my family's more important than any of this stuff. So I think I made the right decision, and I don't ever think about it. Obviously, I had some of the T cards, the 1914 T cards of baseball, which I wish I still had because those are a lot of fun to look at, the little tobacco cards and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to sell all those, but it is what it is, man. Now I'm older. If I want to go buy them, I could definitely go buy them. But, sports have become less of a priority. I love watching sports, but, collecting cards and stuff, and it's really just comic books now and action figures. That's pretty much all I collect.
Gotcha. So is there any lines of comics that you still keep up with? Like any runs that you still follow, or you just buy older stuff, or?
A little bit of both. So like Conan the Barbarian is one of my favorite comics. I have almost every Conan ever written, from King Conan to, their run was 265, I think, is what they did. And I have almost all of them. I might be missing just a couple oddballs. And then obviously went to Dark Horse for about 16 years. I got most of those. And now it started with Titan. In fact, I got them right in front of me because I was reading some of the newer ones. But Titan, which is a European publisher, they have the rights to Conan. And they got a guy named Jim Zub who used to write for Marvel. He wrote Marvel during some of the Avenger movies. So a lot of his stories were what they used in the Avenger movies. And so, yeah, Conan I have a full run on. Invincible, if you guys are watching the the show on Prime. If you're not, you should. It's freaking phenomenal. But I have the entire run of Invincible, which is through Skybound, Robert Kirkman. And then a lot of independents, to be honest. Most of my money is spent on independents because, I'm an independent creator myself, and I like to support the community. So a lot of my comics are coming from that side. And then I collect anything, like I'm going after all the names I can in comics for my podcast. And I certainly reach out to those that I have a good background in and understand what they've accomplished. So I just had Mark Silvestri on, and if you don't know who he is, he's one of the founders of Image Comics, considered one of the best artists in the last 30 years. And he started Image with Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, all these guys. And I just had him on, which you try not to be nervous, and I'm trying not to look like too much of an idiot because these are guys I've looked up to as an artist and creator for a long time. I had McFarlane on, and we talked about toys and all that stuff. About almost 10 months ago, I had him on, and we're about to have him back on again, fingers crossed if everything works out, just to talk about the Kickstarter and everything he's got going on right now.
Nice. Really good, man. Man, you got a lot of stuff going on there, man. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. I need to give the intro real quick. Every 10K, I give them the intro.
Let's do it. Love your intro.
Something we talked about earlier. You're talking to the X-Men t-shirt wearing, championship ring wearing, deal stealing, toy dealing, Hot Wheel riding, no dragonfly flying son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time keeping these credit card bills down. Welcome to A Flair for Toys. Said Uncultured Heathen, it's your boy Beef. And we're inside the toy house with Tommy from World at War Comics, the writer, director, producer, and all that above of the comic book Kingsville. Go check it out on the TikTok shop. See, I got you, man.
You do got me, Beef, man. You got the best intro in all of TikTok, my friend.
Thank you, my man. Thank everybody for showing up and watching us. We're not done. We're only halfway there. I'm going to go back to something he said earlier, and then we're going to ask maybe one or two more questions. Y'all get your questions ready for him and see if he may take us around and show us some of his collection as well. But right quick, I want to go back and not trying to bring up stuff when you had the illness and stuff with the kidney, but
yeah,
pretty much when all that happened is when you got to doing this. Well, I had kind of the same scenario, but not with me. My wife had gotten sick.
Okay.
I had to have another surgery. Actually, between me and her, we had like 4 surgeries in 2 years. But we're all good now.
Good.
A couple of them were really rough, but this last one, I had to be out for about a month to take care of her. They wasn't going to pay me, but, luckily we put back some money. We good, And so I was at home taking care of her, and I'd been talking about wanting to create this channel. And she was like, you know what, after about a weekend, I guess probably like you, I was driving her crazy, even though she was the one laid up. And she's like, if you really want to do it, go back there, get that. This room was covered in toys. I mean, you couldn't even walk through it to get to the garage. Okay, all these shelves here, they had toys on it, but they were all in box. And she's like, if you want to go back there, you get that room clean, you can start getting set up, do whatever you want. So that's what got this started. So it kind of the same thing, except I wasn't the one sick, but I was at home to take care of her. And the point of me bringing that up is sometimes when you think bad things are happening, good things come from it as well. Yeah. So never get too down. There is going to be bad times, but there's brighter times right around the corner.
100%, man. There's more good than bad almost all the time, man. We just live in a society that we tend, and a lot of it is, obviously social media, stuff like that. Negativity sells, unfortunately. And so we see a lot more of it. But when you talk to people, when I talk to my neighbors, when I talk to this community, man, everyone's good. For the most part, everyone's good. So I think there's more good times than bad times. It's just, sometimes the bad times hurt enough to where you remember it longer than the good times. But when you look backwards, man, I've had a lot more good. I've had 21 surgeries, man, since I was 7 until just recently. And I will still say, man, I have way more fun than I do have bad days. It's all about how you look at things, Beef. And I couldn't agree with you more, my friend.
Exactly. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Exactly.
R.I.P. Razor Ramon, man. Hey, hopefully we don't lose connection or something, but we are getting a storm, which we need it. We ain't had rain in a while. It's been over 100-something degrees, so we'll take it.
Yeah.
But if something happens, guys, that's what happened. The man up there must be mad at me. I hear him rumbling, but it's all right. I'm still that uncultured heathen. You know what I mean? I'm going to be up there. But so I think you pretty much told us in the beginning what you collect, but if you could, well, I guess you don't really have to run through that. You can kind of just take us through and show us.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I say let's try to do that. And if anybody's got any questions, they can send them in and I'll read them off to you as we go.
You want me to walk around then?
Yeah, if you don't mind. But the one thing I got to ask is what made you choose McFarlane? Was it just the price point or?
DC. Mainly because of DC. I love DC Comics. I love Marvel too. I have Marvel Legends and Marvel Select. But DC, the older I got, the type of heroes, I think they were a little bit more relatable the older that I got. So I've always been kind of a DC fan. My favorite comic book over the last 20 years has been Green Lantern. So I have a lot of Green Lantern figures, a lot of Green Lantern comic books. I collect comic books that are Green Lantern, where I have the signature of the artist or the writer. So I have a lot of autographs within Green Lantern because it's my favorite. I love it, man.
See, you can tell it's storming. My dog's in there freaking out.
Oh, yeah. No,
At me.
Yeah, my dog might do the same thing if it started storming.
Shaking like a leaf on a tree, boy.
Yeah, they don't do so well when it comes to this kind of
They don't like the storm, boy. She hates it.
Yeah. All right, so I'll start over here. So I have a small shelf right here. I got my Fantastic Four family, everything right there. I got some, these are kind of odds and ends, but this is the Batman family, plus the Joker, and that's the Mark Silvestri Joker from the Batman and Joker run he just did last year. I got Doom down there at the bottom. I got some anime as well. I do like a little bit of anime, not a ton, but I like some. And then here comes all my McFarlane. So I tried to make this my villains, Batman villains section, but it's full, so I got villains everywhere now. But on the top, on the top up here is all villains right here.
Hey, LT's in the house.
LT.
He said Tommy and I are McFarlane collector twins.
We are, man. The only difference is one, his beard is way more beautiful, and he's a closed box collector, and I'm an open box collector. That's the only difference. But LT has one of the best collections I've ever seen when it comes to McFarlane. He's got to have the top. Got to have the top.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Real quick, guys, if y'all got any questions for Tommy, just type them in, and I'll read them off to him as he shows us his collection.
Absolutely. All right, so here is mainly my Flash family. I do have some odds and ends, like my Power Girl. I got Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Deadman. There's a few others, but it's mainly all of my Flash. Down here is my Superman and Super family. So I got my Clark Kents, my Superman. There's Lois Lane, Jimmy. And down here are odds and ends. So some of these are my older toys that I've had for a little while. I have my Tick and Moth. I love the Tick. In fact,
real quick, Sailor Man, I don't think was in here. He said, "How did you choose the name World at War Comics?"
Yeah, so I wanted, when I created my comic book, I called it Kingsville, and I kind of shared a little bit about the story. But the story is turning into a war, and I knew that's where it was going to end up. So I called my publishing company World at War Comics. And also, I turned it into a business, so I actually have a legitimate LLC for my World at War Comics. And all my expenses, my toy collecting, my comic book collecting, because I have a podcast and I'm sharing and interviewing people, I write all of this off as much as I can at the end of the year. So if you're really into collecting like you are, Beef, and you got all these toys and you're, giving your opinion on the toys and opening up in front of people, that's a business, man. You should create a Dross Beef LLC and start.
I was going to, I just haven't done it yet.
Yep. So this brand right here is my brand, World at War Comics, and I keep a box full of all my receipts from the comic book shop and Walmarts and Targets, and I take them to my tax guy, and we get as much as we can get back, man.
And Running Lights asks, do you draw or just write the comic?
So I wrote the comic and I created all the characters, but my drawing skills are not good enough to do a comic book. I could draw like a cover maybe. I'm a decent drawer, but nothing like interiors. That's beyond my skill set. So my artist, he's actually from Moscow, Russia. His name's Dan Zay. He's 24 years old, and he's a very talented young man.
And TNT Neon Prime Time asks, what is your favorite DC character?
I love it when he's in a Target and goes, "It's TNT time." All quiet. I love it, man. Yeah. I love it, man. Yeah. So the question with my favorite DC character, man, it's so hard. I mean, I'm a big, probably Hal Jordan. So I'll just move over here to my Green Lantern. So this is the one section where I'm overflowing. This is DC Direct. It's Marvel. I mean, DC Direct. It's McFarlane, and I have quite a few different figures that are Green Lantern related. John Stewart was always my favorite Green Lantern because growing up on the Justice League, he was the Green Lantern on the cartoon that I used to watch. So that's always been my favorite. I like Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, all of them, man.
I think the Bart man may be jealous.
Yeah.
Hey, Retro asks, any tips on someone going to LLC?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends on the state that you live in. So, that's going to depend on the cost. The good thing is you could transfer it. So my LLC, it costs $500. And then every year you have to renew it. It's about $350 in California to renew it. But what that allows you to do is write off my travel. When I go to a Comic-Con, I write all of that off. I write my miles. I write everything off. So, yeah, it's really easy. You could go online and there's all kinds of great websites where you could purchase your LLC. They make it very easy to do. Some states, it's a lot cheaper. I live in California, unfortunately. I love the weather. I love the beaches. But, man, it's an expensive place to live. So everything's not cheap here. But, yeah, if you're a collector and you got a channel and your channel's growing and you're sharing everything that you're doing and building a community, you should have an LLC, man. It's not going to hurt you. I even got a credit card under my LLC. So that way I have a trail of anything I buy that's related. I have a trail on my credit card bill. And then I get, you don't get everything back, but you'll get a % back depending on the state that you live in and depending on what the rules are every year, the federal changes. So that's why I have a tax guy that does our personal and he does my LLC for me.
Gotcha. Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course.
Gage asks, do you have the Green Lantern movie figures?
I mean, I do. Here is, I got a couple. So here's one. They're all going to fall over the minute I touch them.
Yeah, I've got plenty I got to pick up over here.
Yeah, so I definitely got some from the movie. I'll be honest, man, I'm one of the weirdos that actually enjoyed the movie, and it might just be because I'm a big Green Lantern fan. Yeah, man, I enjoy it, man. But those, I just have a few from the movie. Where's the other one? I'm trying to find them, man. They're back there somewhere.
So did you order the last Green Lanterns that came out?
Yeah, I ended up buying two because the one thing I hated was that it came with a separate, those are two completely different characters. Tamar and what's his name? Sarah. Those are two completely different characters. They should have done a 2-pack, man. But
they're gonna have the same body.
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
Who's gonna display it like once a week, change the head out? So I ended up having to buy two, and that way I have them out all the time, right? So, I mean, I have the DC Direct. Oh shoot, here we go. I have I have the DC Direct version right here. So I can't wait for the McFarlane because those are 6-inch. And McFarlane is 7-inch.
Now, I don't know if LT's still in here, but you or LT, is it true about the rumor that they McFarlane's redoing the Wonder Twins?
There has, so if you want to know like a lot of the things that are coming or the rumors, if you follow McFarlane Toys on Reddit, you get all kinds of early information. People be posting all kinds of pictures that shouldn't be posted and stuff. It's awesome, man. So that's a good question. I don't know if LT is on. I did hear the rumor.
On there. He said, "Remember, there's another platinum that has 2 more heads."
So then, so with the Green Lantern, I have to have the platinums for Green Lantern. Yeah, that kind of pisses me off, man. To be honest, that's the only thing I hate that McFarlane did. You don't do 2 separate characters with the same body.
Well, let me ask you this question too. I asked LT the other night. Do you think McFarlane's gonna hurt itself with making all these platinums? Because my thinking is so many people are chasing these platinums, because I've even done it myself. I've passed on the regular one and went for the platinum. So what I think is going to happen, a lot of these regulars are going to show up at Ross and all these for $5.99, $6.99. I mean, what do you think?
I think so. I mean, and LT could correct me if I'm wrong, but the amount of platinums that they produce compared to the regular is night and day. You know, they might have a run of the regular of like 12,000 or 10,000 or 15,000. On the platinum, this is going to be less than half of that. Most of the platinums are like 5,200, 4,800. It just depends on the one that you're getting. Where I live, when I go to Marshall's, Ross, all these other places, I rarely find McFarlane. It's mainly the Eternals for
Yeah.
I find those everywhere, man. But I find more Marvel Legends than I do McFarlane. And again, it might just be the area that I live in where we're not seeing a lot of McFarlane. My parents live in Kentucky, so we go there, you know, once every 3 months or so, and they have an Ollie's there. And once in a while, you'll see a couple McFarlane, but they'll have row after row of Star Wars and Marvel Legends. So I haven't really seen him get into that situation. I feel like, again, remember, he is a private entity. He is not a public company. So he really manages waste, I think, as good as you can for, you know, taking guesses and trying to figure out how many you should produce at a time. So he can't take a lot of chances. And the reason why I love McFarlane is he does state it at $19.99, $22.99 on most items.
I was going to say, you ain't seen these $29.99 ones I've been buying?
Yeah, so those are, I don't know if I have any that are unopened, but yeah, those ones, again, you know, you're getting this fancy card, you're getting the card stand.
Ooh, I'm getting a fancy stand that I don't need.
I throw them all away, man.
I mean,
so it's another way for him to increase his margins on a figure, right? So I think that's how he's getting around the $22.99, $19.99. Now, when I had him on the podcast, I asked him that, and he said, look, I'm a private company. I've made all the money I'm ever going to need. I try to keep my prices low. If you go and you buy a Spawn comic book, they're $2.99 when the rest of the market is $4.99 and $5.99.
You know, I get that, but then he goes with $29.99 and then 2-pack of Bane and Batman is $70.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, come on now.
Look at these.
Yeah,
these are like $32 or something like that.
I was just gonna say, and then the statues, the big ones are $50. Come on, man.
So I didn't get the Spider-Man one because I already have that other Spider-Man one, but I did get the Captain America. This one is so nice, man.
I love that one.
But $50, man, $50. I'm like,
yeah, that's why I hadn't got it yet. But you let me see it for $30, $35, I'll grab it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, so over here, I do have some of the 12-inch figures that he came out with last year when the Flash movie came out.
Yeah, I didn't buy none of those.
No, but they were $39.99. These ones on his own website he was selling for like $19.99 because
he was going to charge $25 shipping.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing. But if you use MTS10 at checkout, that never ends, and you save 10%. It almost covers your shipping.
Okay.
MTS10. Yeah, that's the only way it makes sense. Now, the good thing about if you shop on McFarlane Toys website, When he does come out with like 3 new figures, he'll have a package of those, and they're like $59 for all 3. So you'll save like $10 as opposed to waiting for the store. And if you use the MTS 10, you'll save 10%, which is close to what your shipping will be. That's why I always buy off of his website before anywhere else. I start on his website right when it's out.
MST10.
No, MTS. MTS 10. Yep.
I'm dyslexic, man.
All good, man. All good. Yeah, it's hard to see, but once in a while he'll send one of these in your packages, especially if you buy often. And
I was gonna say he ain't sent me one because I ain't ordered nothing from his website.
When they first come out, it's the best price you're gonna get. When they first come out, but you got to be at like 9 a.m. on his website because they sell out quick, and then you have to wait for it to hit Walmart and Target.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the shipping, I mean, there's a lot of them. I've gotten more into the McFarlane than I was in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to what you said about not finding none at Ross. 90% of the ones that I have that I did not pay regular price for, I got them at Ross,
That's awesome.
Burlington, Ollie's. You know, I got that whole wave where it built that. I don't even know what that dude was. That Winter Ice.
Oh yeah.
Whatever dude. Never heard of this character, but I got all the figures. I think they were $10 at Ollie's. They're usually like 6 or 7 at Ross.
Yeah.
So that's where I got most of mine. Or Walmart for $4, $7. So I mean, they've been around here clearance a lot. Maybe it's a different state.
Yeah, it might be the state. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure why I don't see. I wish I saw more at Ross because I shop there all the time. Actually, my wife is in Marshall's once a week. She loves that store, so she FaceTimes me every time she goes to Target or Ross to let me know what they have, and when they never have McFarlane.
Well, Marshall should have some too because that one wave with the Flash, Death Storm, whatever.
Yeah.
Where the Blackest Night one. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, I got 3 of that 4 of that wave at Marshall's on my way down to Houston.
Oh wow!
For like $7.99. I was like, well, now I'm still waiting on that one. I still haven't found that other one.
Once in a while at Walmart, I'll see them for $11 when they've been sitting on them for a while and they know like another run's coming in. But I just don't get that luck, man. I never find McFarlane on deal. So if it's something I like, I buy it immediately on his website. Nice.
But yeah, man, like I was saying, McFarlane has come around. I think they're doing a lot of good. I like a lot of the soft goods that they're doing now, which is really good. I think some of their figures, and I used to have an issue with them standing. Not so much. Most of their stands I'm actually using for Marvel Legends.
Yeah. I have more of a problem with my Legends standing up. Almost every day I have to pick them all up. But it might be because I have them so crammed together. So here's all my Marvel Legends down here. So I have quite a bit of X-Men. I got, the Spider-Man movie characters, Tom Holland and the bunch. My favorite Marvel character is going to be Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man. So I have a lot of Incredible Hulk stuff. My favorite family is Fantastic Four. So although I'm a DC guy, Fantastic Four I absolutely love. So I have the Marvel Legends version. I have the Marvel Select version of them. But I would say probably about 80 Marvel Legends or so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so here's all my Marvel
I have
Legends.
quite a bit of DC, but I know I have way more Marvel.
Yeah.
But
I will say with the
that I'm getting more DC than I am Marvel. I mean, I bought one Marvel figure today, and the rest was DC. So I'll show you right quick what I picked up.
yeah, let's look at it.
We picked up Carnage.
Yep.
Retro card. DC, I passed on this one last week because I got the platinum one, but I got the regular one.
That's
now
a nice
this
one.
Dick Grayson, right?
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Okay. We got that one. We picked up this platinum because MC Figures showed it, so I had to go find it.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I just got to right over here, yeah.
And then I barely found this. It was up on the top shelf, sitting like this. But I found that one right there.
Batman Beyond, yep, that's the new one that just came out.
So that was the last ones that I got today. But the other day I did get the Bullet Bullseye Batman.
I'm looking for him. I haven't found
I
him
got the
yet.
manga Batman. I got the Lucius Fox Platinum. The other Batman Platinum.
How do you like that manga one, man?
Huh?
How do you like the manga one? I kind of like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I was really surprised with it.
Yeah, and then
I don't have the Adam West one yet.
I haven't found him yet either, and I was too late. I was working, so I couldn't get to the website fast enough to get it. So I'll have to find it in stores. So hopefully, I'm going to Utah probably tonight. We're going to drive overnight to visit my daughter and bring her back because she's going to visit us. So hopefully, a lot of times when I go to Utah, I find a lot of the figures I've been trying to find. So yeah.
Gage said, "Did you pre-order the Batman Forever Batmobile?"
No, I don't collect the like even the Red Hood motorcycle. I ordered Red Hood without the motorcycle. I just don't have room for all the the vehicles, the bat plane. It just I don't know where to put them, man. My wife made it very clear: do what you want in that room, but it better not spill out. So it just has to stay in this room.
What's up, Lenny? Welcome in, everybody, man. Dang, baby Ox, you got the platinum. Yeah, I hadn't found it yet, but we're going to keep looking. We're going to keep looking. Sound Blaster, welcome in, guys. Oh, we can't run out yet. I got to have it. I got to have your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, man. I ain't letting you off the hook.
Okay, I'll tell you who my favorite, again, I'm going WWF on my Mount Rushmore. Although, obviously, like Stone Cold or The Rock probably deserves to be on there. But Roddy Piper was always my favorite. Jake the Snake Roberts was one of my favorites. Hulk Hogan has got to be on there, I think. So, yeah, I think those 5 or 6 are probably my favorite wrestlers growing up that I really love. Also, Mankind. I think you got to put Mankind on there. What he put his body through.
No, you can only put 4 on there. It's Mount Rushmore.
All right, so
it's only 4.
All right. Hulk Hogan, Mankind, Roddy Piper, and probably Andre the Giant. Those are probably my Rushmore.
Okay. I don't know if you've ever heard mine, but I'll go ahead and give it to you.
Please.
Mine is Ric Flair.
Okay, yeah.
Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, and The Rock. And mainly, and now Hogan, I really hate kind of putting Hogan on there because I wasn't the biggest Hogan fan, but just what they did for the sport and as much as they drew, I don't see how you can argue that, But it's always your list. You can have who you want. That's a great list as well, man.
Yeah, I mean, Mankind was probably one. That's when I kind of left after. He played like 3 or 4 different characters.
Yeah.
Once he kind of left, and then I didn't leave because of that. But that's when I kind of got away from wrestling for a long time, and I'm just now starting to get back into it when I have time. I love it. I think it's an incredible entertainment. I've always enjoyed it, but man, it's just between work and all the other stuff that I like to do, man. I can't fit it all in, man.
I understand. I'm the same way, man. I can't sit there and watch 3 hours of this new stuff anyway. I got to check the highlights out and go back, fast forward, watch the good few little bit. Now I will watch the premium live events they're called now instead of pay-per-views. I do watch those all the way through, but the regular stuff, I don't have the time for it.
I'll be honest, getting back into it, the one thing that I noticed that kind of, Undertaker's another one, yep. The one thing that I noticed is there's too many belts. I feel everyone's a champion now, man. They're like
you think WWE's got a lot of belts? You should see AEW.
Really,
they made one for everybody. Here's a best friend belt. Here's the best man belt. Here's the first lady to show up belt. It's like, what the heck?
I think what do we have at WWF? We had obviously the World Championship. Eventually, they had the Intercontinental. You had a tag team. What else? That's all I remember. Those 3.
That's all it was, and then they brought in the United States title.
Yeah.
And then they had world champion on this show and world champion on this show, and this dude's the world, and this is the universal. And
it's so confusing, man. I'm like, everybody's got a belt, man, so what are they fighting for?
Nah. And then you had the European title, the hardcore title. It's like the water fountain title. It just got crazy, man. But yeah, we always seem to ruin something. We always think that more is what we need when more is not what we always need. Less is more. Less is more. I'm here to tell you.
I think so. I think so, Beef.
But man, I've really enjoyed our time, Tommy. I want to be respectful of your time and everybody else's. But I thank everybody for showing up. I've had a great show. I do have a lot more people coming up. But what I would like to do, I'm still going to get new people on, but I would like to revisit and bring other people back. But I think instead of doing like a full interview, we have a couple topics, and that's what we talk about. So, like, if I had you on again, all we would pretty much talk about is DC Multiverse or Green Lantern comics or something like that. So I'm gonna try to revisit that. I may go 2 more months with this and then switch it up, and maybe every other week have something like that, and then 1 week have a new guest and then a reoccurring guest come on. So everybody stay tuned to that. That's what I got in the works. But let them know what you got in the works, where they can find you at, and all that good stuff, and then I'll close this out.
I appreciate it, Beef. You could find me on all platforms at World at War Comics. My largest platform is Instagram. I have a podcast on YouTube called World at War Comics, and I interview anything related to comic books. So Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, Jeff John, Peter Tomasi. I've had a lot of amazing folks on. I've even had a few actors on from the Punisher TV show, like Jason. So yeah, I'm constantly going after anybody. I just had Derek Kolstad on, who is the creator of John Wick, and he was the producer of the first 3 movies. He sold it, and they kicked him out of his own creation for movie 4. And then he also created Nobody, if you've seen that movie about an assassin as well. But yeah, I'm having a blast, man. This community for action figures, though, and what you do for the community, Beef, is absolutely incredible. There's so many amazing folks that I've been able to meet over just the last year, and you're a big part of that on the Follow Fridays and all that good. Even though sitting there and touching everyone, sometimes I'm like, dude, there's got to be an easier way, man. But building the community has been so important, and folks like yourself, TNT, House of Geekery, Kenny's Collection. I know I'm going to leave somebody out. I apologize. Taven, who drives me nuts when he goes back with his hand to grab one toy and knocks everything over. I have like a stress attack. Like, it's such an amazing community, and I'm just glad to be a little bit part of it. But I appreciate your time. Please tell your lovely wife I said hello. She's always in the comments, making sure that you're behaving, which I love, man.
Somebody has to.
Exactly.
I mean, my moderators and other people on here try to, but sometimes they try to goat me. It's all good. I don't blame them. I probably would too. But man, thank you so much. And you're more than just a little part of this community. You're a real big part. And hopefully your story and everything can inspire somebody else to succeed. And like I said, we do have bad moments in life, but there's always a positive that comes out of everything. You just either got to find it or make it.
Exactly.
So real quick, guys, next week we have, oh hell, here I'm going to go blank again. We have Jordan Gasly coming on the show. Was supposed to be Johnny Rhino, but he's going to postpone to the next week. So Benny Rose stepped up in his spot. And then we've got Johnny Rhino after that. The next one, I don't know for sure if we're going to have Cactus Chris yet or not, but we're working on that. Tomorrow is Wrestling Wednesday. We do a lot of old school wrestling, so if you're not busy, come by and see us. The rest of the time, we just pop up and do what we do. But thank everybody for showing up. Thank you so much, Tommy, from World of War Comics.
Thank you.
And you know what I always say, we are many, but we will be one. And I may be leaving, but I'm still that uncultured heathen.
This is how AG1 works to help your nutrition work harder for you. Even when you try to get high-quality nutrition.
Once everything's perfectly organized, I'll start working on my thesis.
Grammarly will ensure you feel confident nailing your final thesis by supporting your writing journey from start to finish. Welcome to Ideation Station.
How do I write the perfect intro paragraph?
You start with understanding what makes a perfect intro. Grammarly can highlight precise tips for an introductory paragraph based on the research you've done so far.
An informative and inspiring intro. This is exactly what my thesis needed. Now that I've got a strong intro, I need to take a pass at perfecting some of the remaining paragraphs. Revision time?
Revision time. Here at Revision Division, we ensure your writing is the highest quality it can be. This paragraph can be simplified. Grammarly can paraphrase this by using the Improve It prompt, all while maintaining your voice and keeping your work sounding professional.
Awesome. Let's wrap this thesis up with a neat and tidy works cited page.
Grammarly can help with that. Writing citations has never been easier. You can now cite the AI prompts you used.
Perfect. I can even show I used Grammarly for paraphrasing.
There you go. Use AI tools without compromising your integrity.
I have lots of great information in my thesis from different online sources, but I can never remember how to perfectly format my citations.
Just click Get Citation, and you'll have a full citation ready to copy, always formatted perfectly.
Wow, that was fast. This thesis is solid.
One day, people are going to cite your study. How do you feel about that?
Perfect. But Grammarly, how do you feel?
Huh. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Download Grammarly for free.
Ready to perfect your next thesis? Grammarly's there for you from start to finish, across your entire writing journey.
And 94% of students say Grammarly helps improve their grades.
Download Grammarly for free. It's the perfect writing partner.
Check out in no time. Choose Chrome to save time with autofill.
Buli pont jó, repül a tanga, ez messze velem. Éjjó, szélítő a tempó, ha tudnék, pörögnék én a fejemen. Ez csak a kezdet, de nyitva a vég. Az éjjel úgy szép, hogyha sokat ígér. Baby, rázd jól, ne sajnáld. Én leszek a kulcs, és te leszel a zár. Gyere, csináld még. Énekelj velünk, baby. Éjjó, ez a buli pont jó. Repül a tanga, ez messze velem. Éjjó, szédítő a tempó. Ha tudnék, pörögnék én a fejemen. Éjjó, ez a buli pont jó. Repül a tanga, ez messze velem. Éjjó, szédítő a tempó. Ha tudnék, pörögnék én a fejemen. Lapos útás, Ölelkezés, a rókát elkergettük, boldogan nép. Nekünk így jó, de ha eláztál, holnap majd kiguglizod, miben másztál. Gyere, csináld még! Énekelj velünk még, még! Éjjó, éjjó, ez a buli pont jó, repül a tanga, ez veszedelem. Éjjó, éjjó, szédítő a tempó, ha tudnék, pörögnék én a fejemen. Éjjó, éjjó, ez a buli pont jó, repül a tanga, ez veszedelem. Éjjó, éjjó, szédítő a tempó, ha tudnék, pörögnék én a fejemen.
Örök a köbökbe együtt vagyunk, nem kell többről szóljon a dalunk. Veletek a legjobb megőrülni, meg az egész éjszakát áttáncolni. Adjuk már a Szlovéniát! Ura bulis zenékre táncol a világ. Csapast velünk, nincs még, ennyi nem megy.
Éjjó, éjjó, ez a buli pont jó, pont jó, pont jó, pont jó, pont jó. Éjjó, 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 éj, 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 éj. Énekelj velünk még, még! Éjjó, éjjó, ez a buli pont jó, repül a tanga, ez veszedelem. Éjjó, éjjó, szédítő a tempó, ha tudnék, pörögnék én a fejemen.
Go!
Get up, tu que voy a get up, começa querer na cena, já querer na muro da Roma no raga move na vela vai ek tu train so kames muro pra manda so kingi kana que les tu manzana la ja tu tave na babo dale metai tu dale dale sano vale meritai junior kia bare